Hello Summits, welcome back to my channel. This is a tutorial on how to make this plungy V neckline bubu gown. To make this bubu gown, I used 3 yards of Ankara fabric for this. So the first thing I did was to fold my Ankara salvage to salvage, because Ankara, the length of Ankara is by 45, so that wouldn't give me the length I want. So what I did was to measure my full lengthwise, and then fold it salvage to salvage. That means both ends of the Ankara meeting each other. So after doing that, I'll be cutting this front and back separately. So this is for my front piece first, or my back piece, whichever one. So for the folding, like I said, I folded this salvage to salvage. If you're using a crepe fabric for this, you can measure your half of your shoulder measurements, then mark your sleeve length, where you want your sleeve to be. But I didn't do that to this because the 45 inches fold is enough for my sleeve, or where I want my sleeve to be. So the first thing I'll be doing is to mark my points where I would imputing my measurements, and the only point I'll be needing here is where my sleeve opening will be. So to get my sleeve opening, I would add 2 inches to my bust points. So if my bust point is 10 inches, for example, I would add 2 inches to it, and where my sleeve opening would be 12 inches. So after marking that, I'll come in from the edge, as you can see me do, by 2 inches. This is where I want my the shaping to the down part to be. So I'll measure what I have on that point and then mark it all the way down. So after marking all the way down, I would cut this out up to where my 12 inches is. So I forgot to do something at that my 12 inches point. You're meant to curve from that 2 inches mark you made to the edge, as you can see me do. So you're meant to do this before you start cutting. So I'm going to cut it out that way. This measurement can actually fit a size 6 to a size 12 and probably above. Just make sure that the widest part of your measurement would accommodate this with some ease. So the next thing I'll be doing is to mark my neckline measurement. I'm using 3.5 for the width, and for the V neckline for the front, I'm using 9 inches. So I'm going to connect this, and I will mark for my back too on the same fabric. So for my back, I'll be using my underbust length. So what I used there was 14 inches. I'm going to connect this to the 3.5 also. So after doing that, I'll be cutting the front neckline first, which is the 3.5 to the 9. And after cutting that, I would use this to cut for my front before cutting my back neckline out. So after this, I'll be cutting out the back neckline, as you can see me do. So that way I have my front and my back pattern ready. So the next thing I'm going to do is to separate this and use each one to cut my facing. So I'm going to be folding of bits of fabric as wide as 10 inches, and I would place my front piece first on that place I folded, just as you can see me do. So from where the neckline, depth of the neckline stopped, I came down from there at least 4 inches or 5 inches. So I'll cut this out according to the way the neckline is. So for the facing, I just did a curve, a sort of a curve at that point to make it a bit smaller than it is and to give it a little bit of shape. So I'll mark that and I'll cut this out. So after cutting this out, I would bring my front piece, turn it to the front, and then take that facing and place it front side facing front side, as you can see me do. So I'll place this and I'll pin it all around to be sewn. So after setting the front aside, I will do the same thing for the back. I'll cut my facing for it. I'll do the curve for the facing, and then I would open my facing, my main back piece to the front, and then I'll place my facing facing front side. I'll pin this all around and take it for stitching. Mind you, I used 1/2 inch to stitch my facing and my main bodies together. So I'll set this aside, and then what I did here is to just mark out where I'm sewing. It's not necessary if you are able to gauge where your 1/2 inch is. So the next thing I did was to measure what I had from each side of my neckline. That way I'll be able to know what I'm cutting out for my rope. So for the back rope, I measured 1.5 inch for the width, and what I measured from each side of my neckline for the back was 12 inches. So that's what I cut. I cut exactly to 12 inches. If you cut more, it won't relax. So this rope is actually meant to hold the necklines together. So this is how I stitch my V neckline. You start stitching, and then when you get to the middle points, when stitching a V neckline, you don't have to go pretty fast. You just have to go as slow as possible, especially when you get to that V point. So you put your needle through the fabric and let it be there. Lift up your footer and then move it to the other side and start stitching. So stitching a V neckline is not actually hard. It's easy if you know this trick. So I did this for both my back and my front bodies. So after doing this, I would take it to my table and I would notch. So I'll take this to my cutting table and I would notch it all around, especially at that V neckline point. So after stitching and notching, for the facing you can decide to serge the edge, or you can decide to just hem the edge. So the next thing I'm going to do is to iron this very properly. I'm going to give it a very good press on the edges, and I'm going to be turning that rope. After stitching, I'll be using my safety pin to turn this inside out. If you don't know how to do this, just watch what I'm doing. All you have to do is to pick one side of the rope, pass your safety pin through it, and then push it through the hole until you're able to pull this out. So I also used hemming gum on the edges, on my facing, under my facing, to help hold them together. So I did this for both the back and the front. This would help hold your facing and your main fabric together. So after ironing, I'll be placing my back on my front piece, as you can see me do, and I would pin my shoulders sorry, I'll be pinning the shoulder together, so that way I can stitch both back and front together at that point. So after stitching my shoulder together, I'll be hemming the edge of the sleeve opening there. I'll be hemming it by 1 inch. So I've joined my shoulder and I've hemmed my sleeve edge, as you can see. The next thing I'll be doing is to close the side with 1 inch allowance. As you see me demonstrate, I'll just close it down to the other side. I'll do this for both sides. So after doing that, I'll be placing my rope by very close to the shoulder. You can do this by coming down 2 inches from your shoulder line, but I wanted mine to be close to the shoulder point, so that's what I did here. I just attached it and then tacked it to the back. So please mind you, you're not doing this on top of the shoulder line. You're doing it like on the back neckline, close to the shoulder point. So after doing that, I'll be hemming it down by 1 inch. I'll fold by ½ inch first, and then another ½ inch, and hem this round. So this is my final result. Very easy bubu gown. Like, you can do this in the within 30 minutes. I love the back. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I use go beg now. Thank you very much.